the question about culture and heritage and music and advocacy. So, and I'll speak to myself. I think I'm a very Pan-African African because of my parents coming from different countries. So even from just within the African context itself, from a very early age, I was always living in two cultures. I was living in an African culture, but I was living in two cultures in terms of who we were in the house, my mother's culture and my father's culture. And then in my position as a member of our big umbrella movement, Moving Cultures, and our motto is unity in diversity. So as a young child, I saw what it can look like to belong to a Kenyan father and to belong to a Swazi mother, and to have even the sounds of music coming from different parts of Africa, all of them happening at once in my reality. So I saw them unified. I didn't see a clash. I didn't see opposition. Now, if you ask me, when I was a child, everyone used to laugh at me because they used to say, well, you're not really Kenyan. And when I go to Swaziland, you're not really Swazi. You always belong in different places, or you never do really belong. So, tying into what Serge was saying with globalization, I think we live in a generation where we decide who we are. We decide what our culture is going to be. Our predecessors, people who have lived in the past, have given us a reference in terms of sound, in terms of language, in terms of buildings, in terms of everything that connotes culture. But we're living in a world where information is available at your fingertips. We're very exposed. So how do we leverage what has passed from the past and define who we are today? If you speak to young Kenyans, I have teenagers, I mentor young girls, and I also run a children's choir, and I'm also a musician within the context of music, moving cultures, where last night you heard Wanny and Catalina. They were singing music from Honduras, from Cuba, but with very, very strong African influences with an electric guitar. We live in such a globalized, such a melange, such a mix. Part of the discussion we're having in the back about what it means to be contemporary is, what is contemporary? And I think personally, my example says, I decide, I'm Kenyan. Come and talk to me if you don't think I'm Kenyan. But I am Swazi, I'm African, I'm international. So I don't think that we compromise our heritage and an identity living in a contemporary world. I think it enhances, and like Serge was talking about, it brings out the best in who we are and what has been passed on to us from generations past. Everybody knows, can you put up your hand if you have heard about the reed dance in Swaziland that King Swazi holds every year? Okay, only 2 people, many more. So the reed dance is basically a celebration where young girls come from all over the country, and traditionally what they used to come and do was to repair the Queen Mother's hut. But it's a time of dancing and celebration, and Herman was talking about the influence of certain kinds of music on TV with a lot of half-dressed, naked young women. Now in the reed dance, when they dress, they wear a very tiny little skirt here, and that's it. They don't wear anything else. Their breasts are exposed, everything in the anatomy is exposed. But if you look at how girls dance in a hip-hop video, and how you see, and if you see all these thousands of young Swazi girls who are dancing with reeds and they're doing the traditional Swazi dances, the message that is coming in both contexts are very different. Should we throw away the reed dance because of what is happening in hip-hop? In my opinion, growing up in Swaziland, to me, it is a celebration of womanhood. I have a choir of young girls. I want them to know what it means to be African, to be strong, to be powerful, to be knowledgeable as a young African woman, and to embrace everything that we are without losing our sense of dignity. When people come, people have heard many different commentaries about the reed dance, and people say, oh, it's pornography, it's this and that. I think it's pornography if you view it as pornography, and depending on, and maybe the place where you're coming from. But when you come to Swaziland and see how it is held, you decide. You decide. Those young girls are not coming to dance and to show pornographic images. They're coming to celebrate their sense of self, their sense of identity as young Swazi girls. And when I was growing up, the songs used to be very different, the messages were very different. still always pertaining to my life as a young woman, living in Swaziland. Young teenagers today are still singing the same message of womanhood, of identity, of sense of self. But as they dance, they do the traditional dances and they'll throw in a dub in the middle of it. That is their expression. Is it less traditional or is it not culture because they're expressing themselves that way? We decide.